everything, who's wealthy, who's 100 millionaire, who laughs at our money and calls it monopoly money. And he, because of his relationship with the PNM, gets a rent-to-own unit, does not have the wherewithal or the character to pay for the unit, and he gets it and skips the line over all these people who have their savings, who are ready to go, but who just can't take that 9% of a mortgage of the banks. They just need a little assistance to live comfortably. And the PNM does not care, because the PNM is about the rich getting richer. And in this case, Ralph Gonzalez, with his Trinity wife and his dual citizenship children who are multimillionaires, they got the pleasure of Rowley and the PNM. And that is the issue. And that is disgusting. And that is nepotism. And that is against the Constitution. That is wrong. And Ralph Gonzalez had to pay we money so we could take that taxpayer money and build houses for the people.
Yeah, and I think that makes sense. I mean, and again, giving an insight of where you are as a minister in the Ministry of Housing. But how do you feel when you hear people making such statements as you may be working with the New Democratic Party, the NDP, in St. Vincent, the opposition, as of course their elections are scheduled for later this month on the 25th. People are saying that, you know, all of this is just political mischief because of the upcoming general election.
Number one, I didn't know it had any general election in St. Vincent. Number two, I don't get involved in that. Number three, over 8 different times, radio stations have called me in the last week to do live interviews, and I said absolutely not, because I did not know or did not intend to involve myself in any election. Really, that is for Vincentians and people who live in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I was dealing with an issue here in my domestic politics in Trinidad and Tobago, where the Prime Minister of St. Vincent decided on his own volition to jump up and attack my Prime Minister who won by a landslide on April 28th. He jumped in, he drew first blood, and I responded. So me, I know about he election and what going on with he. I couldn't care less. I just telling Ralph Gonzalez, leave my Prime Minister alone, stay and love up your Rowley, and pay we $1.3 million so we can build 3 houses for poor people to hang out.
I think he gets the message loud and clear, and I think you're making it also clear that you have no intentions of staying quiet when it is that our beloved Prime Minister is being attacked left, right, and center. I mean, to the point.
Something.
Go ahead.
She's too loving and too nice, and she allowed these miscreants, these dishonest, pathological PNM liars between 2010 and 2015 to lie on her ministers, to lie on her government. Remember when they even put a headline in The Guardian, and The Guardian media has lost over $14.6 million in 9 months. Yeah. OCM has lost millions of dollars, and saying that they made a little profit in real estate. That's because the population has realized that these media, these newspapers, this TV6, this CNC3 are all PNM propagandists and propaganda machines, and people are switching off and will continue to switch off because they are nasty, they're disgusting, and they promote the incompetence, the corruption, and the wickedness of the PNM. Do you recall? I'll give you one out of, I can give you about 100 examples, but I don't have time. But one of the worst ones was when the front page of The Guardian back in 2012 or so said, government loses 1.2 billion arbitration in OPV matter. You remember that?
Yeah, well, yeah.
You know what the truth was? Anand Ram Logan won back with money. Anand Ram Logan won back $1.2 billion back for the people of Trinidad and Tobago because BAE Systems, their vessel was not functioning. The laser targeting shooting, which is the most important thing as you're seeing now, when the U.S. target a boat moving at 80, 90, 100 miles per hour, it hits it direct and you're seeing it blowing up. Well, that was the main thing that was our warships, the OPVs, were supposed to do. Blow up gun runners, drug cartel boats at high speed. The laser targeting system was not working. Anand Ram Logan won back our money because BAE had a defective vessel. The Guardian media and the PNM media, I sure still have people right now who's trying to say them PNM people who just lie. Oh, they shut down the OPVs and we lost free money. That is not true. We won back $1.2 billion because the vessels were faulty. That's the truth. They never print a retraction. They never corrected the record. They are disgusting. They are dishonest. And I call upon the population to reject Guardian Media Limited, reject Guardian, reject CNC3, reject The Express, reject TV6, reject the Newsday, and reject the 13 PNM radio stations. PNM has control this country and put all of them miscreants in different areas as independent this and independent that. They're not independent. The one independent office holder who stood up is now like a hero to us all. The Auditor General. We didn't know it was a Ima woman. We didn't know who she was. But she stood up to the lies and the abuse of Colin Buck and saved this country. She is a hero. But that's what we need. Independent-minded people to just do their jobs. Stop with the PNM lies. Stop with the propaganda. The PNM is a disease and must remain where they are and go even further down.
Closing comments, go right ahead.
Fire burn the PNM. God bless.
Thank you. Have a good one. Thank you, Senator. Well, there you have it, folks. Senator, the Honorable Anil Roberts, Minister in the Ministry of Housing, giving us a clear picture of what's unfolding and why he felt it necessary to go public on this story. And I agree with him. I mean, I'm not going to mince words here. Let's be honest. I mean, really and truly. What has taken place here is really and truly, it is disgraceful when you have mainstream media who has aligned themselves with those people who are just, opponents of everything that this administration wants to do. They try to downplay it. I mean, here it is, we have a revitalization plan for all of Trinidad and Tobago, some of its major spots. But yet still, you have mainstream media asking and trying to punch holes in it, looking for kinks in the armor, and not saying to themselves, listen, in all reality, this economy has been stagnant for quite some time. For quite some time, it has been stagnant. I mean, we can't even recall ever having anything that was generating, let's say, foreign revenue or any kind of revenue that the PNM had come with in the past 9.5 years that we can point to, we can highlight and say it has elevated the lives of the citizens of this country. Not one policy, not one, absolutely none. We've heard of NDAs being signed. We've heard about deals being made, whether it was for vaccines, whether it was for whatever the case may have been. But we have nothing that has a comprehensive layout of something that was put in place, implemented, that has elevated the lives of the citizens of this country. And now that we have someone with a vision, like Kamala Prasad-Bissessar and her administration, that is laying out a plan that to take these things and say, listen, we are no longer going to be behind the 8 ball. We're coming out and we're letting the world know that Trinidad and Tobago is open for business. That says a lot. And that must be complimented. And most of all, as citizens, it must be supported. So I think he said quite a lot. I mean, mainstream media is losing its way, it's losing its profit, it's losing its credibility. And to good people like yourself who know where the truth lies and where you can actually get the stories that really and truly matters. Programs like this and others. Take a short break. When we come back, we'll be speaking to some folks about what's going on in the fishing community with the tensions rising between the U.S. and Venezuela. We'll be right back.
Your heart does so much for your body, your life, your loved ones. But modern stress, diet, and lifestyle can tip the balance, especially with every passing day. Heart XL delivers high-potency omega-7 palmitoleic acid from sustainable pollock oil to elevate HDL and support a healthy metabolism.
Inflammation and low HDL put your heart at risk. Heart XL's omega-7 helps reduce C-reactive protein and support healthy HDL, keeping your heart strong.
Heart XL. Nourish your heart. Sustain your life.
When you say TNT's construction boss, then there's only one company, Lacroix Construction Services Limited, specializing in general construction, industrial maintenance, manpower resources, transportation and lifting, and equipment rental, excavators, bulldozers, dump trucks, lighting systems, and everything for your project. We have affordable prices. Call now 267-0000 or 431-0012. Lacroix Construction Services Limited, TNT's construction boss.
Where does disease start? It often begins silently. No pain, no symptoms, just inflammation quietly damaging your body. Our choices: food, stress, pollution, all feed inflammation. Chronic inflammation is the root cause of many modern diseases.
You can't go back in time, but you can start addressing inflammation before it becomes disease.
Omega XL is a natural inflammation fighter clinically researched with over 30 fatty acids and no fishy aftertaste. Available Caribbean-wide at pharmacies and health food stores. Call 1-868-225-0410 for more information.
For all top quality and affordable hardware supplies, no one beats Midland Hardware, located number 97 Eastern Main Road, Arouca. Midland stocks the #1 brands in hand tools, garden tools, water tanks, power washers, generators, water pumps, kitchen and bathroom faucets, along with face basins and toilet sets, blocks, lumber, steel, sand, gravel and topsoil. Also check out Midland for steel windows and assorted designs of metal curtain rods. Everything for home and business projects. Payments via links, credit cards, online payments, or cash on delivery. WhatsApp 327-7761 or call 646-2144. Open every day from 8 a.m. From foundation to finish, it's all at Midland.
Is high blood sugar the root cause of diabetes? Most people think high blood sugar is the problem. The truth, it's inflammation. Insulin resistance is the root cause of diabetes. Reducing that inflammation is key. Omega XL is a natural option. Not fish oil, but a patented green lip muscle extract with over 30 fatty acids, including EPA and DHA. Clinically studied, backed by over 30 years of research. Stay tuned.
Omega XL. Power your health.
Husqvarna, a global leader in outdoor power equipment, known for its high performance, durable and innovative products, tested and proven by generations of professionals. Full after sales and service support whenever you need it. Contact Provar Distributors Limited, 223-9438 to find a dealer near you.
If you live with diabetes, your pancreas works overtime every single day. Between our rich foods and busy lives, chronic inflammation can sneak in, stressing the pancreas and raising the risk of complications. Over time, inflammation can damage these cells, making blood sugar harder to control.
Protecting your pancreas from inflammation is a smart way to support healthy blood sugar management.
Backed by science, Omega XL is a natural anti-inflammatory with over 30 free fatty acids, proven to help reduce inflammation at its source. Learn more online or ask your local pharmacist. If you live with diabetes, your pancreas works overtime every single day. Between our rich foods and busy lives, chronic inflammation can sneak in, stressing the pancreas and raising the risk of complications. Over time, inflammation can damage these cells, making blood sugar harder to control.
Protecting your pancreas from inflammation is a smart way to support healthy blood sugar management.
Backed by science, Omega XL is a natural anti-inflammatory with over 30 free fatty acids, proven to help reduce inflammation at its source. Learn more online or ask your local pharmacist. If you live with diabetes, your pancreas works overtime every single day. Between our rich foods and busy lives, chronic inflammation can sneak in, stressing the pancreas and raising the risk of complications. Over time, inflammation can damage these cells, making blood sugar harder to control.
Protecting your pancreas from inflammation is a smart way to support healthy blood sugar management.
Backed by science, Omega XL is a natural anti-inflammatory with over 30 free fatty acids, proven to help reduce inflammation at its source. Learn more online or ask your local pharmacist. If you live with diabetes, your pancreas works overtime every single day. Between our rich foods and busy lives, chronic inflammation can sneak in, stressing the pancreas and raising the risk of complications. Over time, inflammation can damage these cells, making blood sugar harder to control.
Protecting your pancreas from inflammation is a smart way to support healthy blood sugar management.
Backed by science, Omega XL is a natural anti-inflammatory with over 30 free fatty acids, proven to help reduce inflammation at its source. Learn more online or ask your local pharmacist.
Oh gosh, this place hot and the AC in this car not working.
Check Ryan Air. Ryan Air is ranked among the best in TNT for auto air conditioning service. They specialize in repairing and servicing all makes and models of vehicles and heavy equipment. They also stock a wide range of parts. Give them a call at 640-5828 or visit them at number 41 King Farm Road, Tacarigua, or email ryanairac@gmail.com. For prompt and efficient service, look no further than Ryan Air.
Dust from the Saharan desert, over 6,000 kilometers away, travels across the Atlantic to our little island, filling the air we breathe with tiny dust particles that can trigger an inflammatory response when inhaled into the lungs.
Saharan dust travels far and triggers inflammation. Omega XL helps reduce it at the source. Support your body from within.
When you say TNT's construction boss, then there's only one company, Lacroix Construction Services Limited, specializing in general construction, industrial maintenance, manpower resources, transportation and lifting, and equipment rental, excavators, bulldozers, dump trucks, lighting systems, and everything for your project. We have affordable prices. Call now, 267-0000 or 431-0012. Lacroix Construction Services Limited, TNT's construction boss.
Where does disease start? It often begins silently. No pain, no symptoms, just inflammation quietly damaging your body. Our choice is food, stress, pollution, all feed inflammation. Chronic inflammation is the root cause of many modern diseases.
You can't go back in time, but you can start addressing inflammation before it becomes disease.
Omega XL is a natural inflammation fighter clinically researched with over 30 fatty acids and no fishy aftertaste. Available Caribbean-wide at pharmacies and health food stores. Call 1-868-225-0410 for more information.
For all top quality and affordable hardware supplies, no one beats Midland Hardware, located number 97 Eastern Main Road, Arouca. Midland stocks the #1 brands in hand tools, garden tools, water tanks, power washers, generators, water pumps, kitchen and bathroom faucets, along with face basins and toilet sets, blocks, lumber, steel, sand, gravel and topsoil. Also check out Midland for steel windows and assorted designs of metal curtain rods. Everything for home and business projects. Payments via links, credit cards, online payments, or cash on delivery. WhatsApp 327-7761 or call 646-2144. Open every day from 8 a.m. From foundation to finish, it's all at Midland.
Is high blood sugar the root cause of diabetes? Most people think high blood sugar is the problem. The truth, it's inflammation. Insulin resistance is the root cause of diabetes. Reducing that inflammation is key. Omega XL is a natural option. Not fish oil, but a patented green-lipped muscle extractor with over 30 fatty acids, including EPA and DHA. Clinically studied, backed by over 30 years of research. Stay tuned.
Omega XL. Power your health.
Husqvarna, a global leader in outdoor power equipment, known for its high performance, durable and innovative products. Tested and proven by generations of professionals. Full after-sales and service support whenever you need it. Contact Provar Distributors Limited, 223-9438 to find a dealer near you.
If you live with diabetes, your pancreas works overtime every single day. Between our rich foods and busy lives, chronic inflammation can sneak in, stressing the pancreas and raising the risk of complications. Over time, inflammation can damage these cells, making blood sugar harder to control.
Protecting your pancreas from inflammation is a smart way to support healthy blood sugar management.
Backed by science, Omega XL is a natural anti-inflammatory with over 30 free fatty acids, proven to help reduce inflammation at its source. Learn more online or ask your local pharmacist.
Oh gosh, this place hot and the AC in this car not working.
Check Ryan Air. Ryan Air is ranked among the best in TNT for auto air conditioning service. They specialize in repairing and servicing all makes and models of vehicles and heavy equipment. They also stock a wide range of parts. Give them a call at 640-5828 or visit them at number 41 Kane Farm Road, Tacarigua, or email ryanairac@gmail.com. For prompt and efficient service, look no further than Ryan Air.
Dust from the Saharan desert, over 6,000 kilometers away, travels across the Atlantic to our little island, filling the air we breathe with tiny dust particles that can trigger an inflammatory response when inhaled into the lungs.
Saharan dust travels far and triggers inflammation. Omega XL helps reduce it at the source. Support your body from within.
Oh gosh, this place hot and the AC in this car not working.
Check Ryan Air. Ryan Air is ranked among the best in TNT for auto air conditioning service. They specialize in repairing and servicing all makes and models of vehicles and heavy equipment. They also stock a wide range of parts. Give them a call at 640-5828 or visit them at number 41 Kane Farm Road, Tacarigua, or email ryanairac@gmail.com. For prompt and efficient service, look no further than Ryan Air.
Thank you, Master Control. We are back, folks. We were first getting things ready for you. Joining us at this time, we have two gentlemen on the line. Mr. Safras Ali, the fishing representative on the ASTT board, and Imtiaz Khan, who's the president of the Kali Bay Fishing Association. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Pleasure to have you on. Let me start. Sorry. Let me start with Mr. Khan. Imtiaz, the disturbing video that has been going around, of course, of these fishermen being beaten. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that one or several of the men have been freed. Is that correct?
I'm not sure. I've been following this story closely, Mickie, because for me, following stories like this, it'll be very heart-wrenching, because deja vu all over again, because I've been through some in my little area, 9 piracy, and 7 in 2019 and 2 in 2021. So looking at this video, I feel for the family, because when I saw these families and I interacted with these families, up to now, the loss and the pain, I could only imagine what those families are going through currently.
Yeah, but give us an idea. I mean, because, we have the Honorable Prime Minister making it quite clear that if it is that you're involved in anything like shady activities, the government is not going to be drawn into anything like that. But give us an idea, because, I mean, for the last 9.5 years, when you listen to the stories of what went on in the whole fishing industry, it really and truly didn't show that there were the resources, there were the means, there were programs, whatever they needed to assist the fisher folk at that time. Now, of course, we see what's going on with the U.S. and Venezuela, and the fact that many of the fishermen are being warned not to go too far, not to go into certain territory. I mean, what are we looking at here? And why is it that we have so much being said that people are out there not based on fishing, but for other activities?
Because Mickie, we have been lacking enforcement. We have laws that govern this industry. A simple thing. Lawyers, a fishing vessel ought to carry 150 horsepower, right? Which is 275 engine in case one breakdown. That's law. Not more than that. So quite easily we can identify who fish and who, and then again the gear in the boat, the vessels. Because when this incident happened with the fisher folks in 2019, Stuart Young was the National Security Minister at the time, and he said they're not fishing. So I had to tell Mr. Young, go to the Orange Valley Market and you will see the records will show they fish, and they fish daily. You know, and it's so very sad because, you know, our fundamental human right is life, liberty, and security, right? Security, on land, security at sea. Who's supposed to provide the security? The people who are not doing it. And we've been under siege, the fishing industry and the fisher folks have been under siege for quite a while, and nothing's changed. Nothing, absolutely nothing.
Yeah, we heard from the family members have spoken out and said that, you know, over the years, nothing basically has done as far to assist them when it is that their loved ones have been kidnapped by Venezuelan pirates, as the case may be. Now, you know, again, we don't want to get involved into an issue where people may be claiming that they're doing one thing out there, and in fact, they're doing something else. And I know that if it is that you're trying to ply your trade and there's some challenges and what have you, there are people who would look at alternative options to get the money that they need to get for their families and to live and to survive. You know, again, why is this not being made a priority? I mean, now we're hearing from the current Agriculture Minister, Mr. Ravi Ratiram. He has been pleading for years, while of course in opposition, talking about fuel, talking about the high price of goods, and the fact that fisher folks were not being you know, dealt with properly and made a priority. Taking all of that in consideration, what needs to be fixed? Sure.
Mikey, I still work with some recommendations we had that we took to the former Prime Minister in 2019, where when this fisherman was killed, they had high-powered meeting in Orange Valley, where recommendation was made to the Minister of National Security and the Prime Minister then as the head of the National Security Council. And you know, since then, we a simple thing, we were promised 14 interceptors at the cost of $6 million to refurbish in 2025. Nothing happened. We get big vessels. The fisher folks don't see the vessels. So in terms of, we had some simple solutions, Mickie, and you know, I hope with this new administration that they talk to us and they take us seriously and some changes are made, because we're so close to the Venezuelan on the south coast, right? Sometimes they come into our waters and interfere with our fisher folks. That's the reality. But nothing is done. So all the families just had to continue pleading and begging. So how do we identify our waters and the Venezuelan waters on the south coast? Are there markers? Are there any buoys? Are there any maritime markers for the fisher folks to know? No.
Yeah.
No.
Let me.
So the fisher.
Yeah, let me bring in Safras Ali here. Mr. Ali, you've been listening, of course, getting an idea of what we're talking about. It's been happening for quite some time. This is not something that just simply started overnight. It's been happening for a while. Where are we going with this?
First of all, I would like to say this, right, on a concur with Brother Kerr there. Before, the fishermen outside there, especially the southern fishermen, and the western fishermen, when I say western, the southern western fishermen, they were exposed to the vagaries of piracy on the sea and so on. And no matter what, even the former MP / Shadow Minister of Agriculture in those days was pleading that let the Coast Guard step up and asking for better protection for our waters and the fishermen and so on. And time and time again, you hear horror stories of piracy, Venezuelan, or I should say Spanish-speaking pirates boarding our fishermen, throwing them off the boat, taking the engine, you know, what kind of thing. Now we've seen this kidnapping thing happening with fishermen, alleged fishermen up in the Venezuelan mainland there. What we are saying is this, Mikey, is that since the U.S. intervened and brought in these ships and started target the narco terrorists, right, the narco traffickers and gun runners and so on, what we are seeing is a marked decrease in piracy that's affecting our fishermen. So that's a positive step. A positive step in that our fishermen are being less exposed now to pirates because the pirates thinking twice to come in the Gulf and ply their trade. And while plying their trade, they see a fisherman, a trained fisherman boat, and they say, we could take that engine, we could take them what they have and throw them overboard. So since the U.S. intervened, we are seeing a less amount of that happening, which is a good thing for our fishermen. And fishermen has noted that also. And by and large, the fishermen has been complying, most fishermen have been complying with the directives not to go too far out on the southern side. As Imtiaz told me, the eastern and the northern side, you have up to 200 nautical miles on the east coast and the north coast you can go and fish. So it's not to say that there's no options available to the fishermen. The fishermen have the options of going to a different direction further if they need to go. Otherwise, on the southern side, they need to stay within the zone, as Imtiaz said, within the zone to fish closer to the shores of Trinidad and in the Gulf of Paria also. So the options are there, and we're seeing positive things happening in terms of the narco traffickers being reduced and so on. So that's my take so far.
Yeah, but let me ask you, when you talk about that zone, of course, this is something that was discussed with the fishermen as far as knowing exactly the exact locations, where to go, where not to go, don't go too far, and what have you. Because the reason why I'm asking you this, because I'm certain that people who are locked on, people who are listening and watching, is saying, listen, once you go beyond what you were warned, then it means that you would have another agenda. You would have some ulterior motive, some hidden agenda to go beyond that point, and that's where questions need to be asked.
And you're correct too, Big Mikey, because you have to be living under a rock, or probably you didn't have no communication device in your village where you're living, to not to know that there is an issue, there is some tensions building up on the Venezuelan side where they're leveling threats at us. After yesterday, we heard the Venezuelan president saying something negative about the U.S. having military practice with our military, and Maduro is dead against that. Which, by the way, is my personal opinion, now, not the ASCT. I think Maduro is out of place because we don't tell him who he can link up with and which military come in by him. So why must he try to intervene and tell us who we can associate with? That is madness. We are a sovereign country, and our prime minister and our government is well within their right to associate with whichever government they wish to. So Maduro can't dictate our pace in other words. But my point being this, and you're correct, Mikey, that there is a tension between Venezuela, mainly on the Venezuelan side, directing to us. And therefore, as fishermen on the southern side, you have to have a little more sense in how you conduct your business. You can't play vanguard and hero and try to go further that you used to normally go out and encroach, because you tend now to see what's happening here now with those fishermen being allegedly kidnapped by the Venezuelans.
Well, let me ask you something, Mr. Imtiaz Khan. Now, taking all of this into consideration, now the activities of some can really and truly taint whatever image that the rest of the law-abiding fisher folk would want to be engaged in. I mean, when you hear about some of these illegal activities coming from people that you may or may not know, but they fall under the whole banner of fishing, what do you do?
Well, Mikey, as I said, we had simple things that was in place. Sure. That in terms of the fisheries division, the former government, they sent over a set of people. So the fishery division is really understaffed. We have 65 landing sites in this country. We had what they call data collectors around that will normally go on the front site and take the information in terms of when a boat go out to fish, how much fish you catch. A simple thing like that will let you know which vessels are the active vessels and are honestly fishing. A simple thing like that. Then again, based on horsepower on our laws and the fishing gear. Some simple thing. But if there's no enforcement, if you go out there and you could run across borders freely, you have no coast guard to intercept you. When you come on the landing site, you can change landing site without answering to anyone. And these sort of things continue happening. How it is you're going to deal with situation like this? Because it's a simple thing. If I do something San Fernando, I can pull up Cali Bay and nobody know nothing will happen in San Fernando. So, and you have no checks and balances. None, absolutely none. So simple things could be put in place that can identify who fishing and who not. Because simple, at the landing site, we have fisheries officers that visit different landing sites every month in the areas, so they can tell you which vessel is be on land most of the time, which vessel there's be on the ocean, which vessel fishing, which not fishing. And then at Orange Valley, when you go to where the scale, you have the data that has been collected by the scale that will have your information. Because Orange Valley is the market we use in the western side here. Brickfield, Cali Bay, Orange Valley, Clafton, that is the market we use to retail our fish, or to sell our fish, wholesale it. So it have things, but if nobody not paying, taking, nobody not paying attention to what's happening, anything goes mighty.
Yeah, and that's the sad thing about it. We no longer want anything to go, because anything going could be anything coming. And we have to have better control as far as that goes. I mean, listening to Senator Roberts earlier saying that, listen, this is basically the method that should have been there to begin with, to ensure that when these boats come into our territory, or to make sure that anybody trying to bring anything that is illegal into our waters, that they be basically blasted out of the water?
Yep, because look, simple things. For the recommendation top of my head, reader, a functioning reader will let you know exactly what's coming into your waters. Who coming, what coming, so you can intercept. If you don't have readers, right? We wanted a direct hotline to the Coast Guard. We wanted Coast Guard based around the country, east, west, north, south, right? And when we met with Mr. Hines in June, they said they was putting one central because of the closeness between us and Venezuela. It's 7 miles of water between us, right? And that never happened. It never happened. So we continue to talk. We continue to spend money on all these big vessels, right? That we can't do the job where the fishermen fish inside here because they can't come in the shallow. And Don Pulo was in the meeting on the 14th of June 2021 when he told me that we had the riverine unit that was launched. With the riverine, nobody see no riverine boat?
Yeah. Gentlemen, closing comments, go right ahead.
Well, for me, personally, I would really like to meet with the Minister of set up a meeting. Stafford and I was talking with the Minister of Agriculture, Homeland Security, Defense, and with the commissioner, because this can be dealt with simply, and with the American here. I hope before they leave international waters, and they can assist our Coast Guard and our military personnel or defense force in how to secure borders, because Mr. Hines was interviewed, and in the interview he said there are 240-something illegal ports of entry in this country. So our Coast Guard personnel was in Cali Bay. So when I told him, the minister said, the man watched my laugh. So I said, your smile telling me it have more. So which means we have to be vigilant in securing our borders so our citizens can enjoy our fundamental rights to life, liberty, and security. That's my closing remarks for now.
Mr. Ali?
Yeah, Mikey, and I want to endorse what him just said there. He's a subject matter expert, having been a fisherman himself, still as a fisherman, and he represents a great body of fishermen on the Cali Bay side. What I would like to see happen is this, as he said, let's do this meeting with the various ministers in terms of charting a way forward. I know that the government is working very hard behind the scenes to secure our borders, and we're seeing it happen with the pirates and the drug traffickers being targeted. I know that is happening. Fishermen are a little more safe now. However, moving forward, we need to have a little more information concerning matters like what as stated there, in terms of the piracy, the encroachment, if they have Venezuelan boats coming in our waters, what do we do? That kind of thing. So yes, but I have confidence. I have confidence that this government is doing things to secure our borders, and at the end of everything, it will be better for the fishermen and the citizens because we have a safer, more secure environment to fly to the fishermen to fly their trade and all those associated with the marine aspect of the industry.
All right. Gentlemen, thank you so much for taking time out to link with us here this evening and Sunday evening. Thank you so much, and we will be checking in on this issue as time goes along.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you so much. Take a short break. We'll be right back, folks, right here on The Observer. Do excuse me, it's, the air for the last couple of days, but I'm all right. We'll be right back.
Your heart does so much for your body, your life, your loved ones. But modern stress, diet, and lifestyle can tip the balance, especially with every passing day. Heart XL delivers high-potency omega-7 palmitoleic acid from sustainable pollock oil to elevate HDL and support a healthy metabolism.
Inflammation and low HDL put your heart at risk. Heart XL's omega-7 helps reduce C-reactive protein and support healthy HDL, keeping your heart strong.
Heart XL, nourish your heart, sustain your life.
When you say TNT's construction boss, then there's only one company, Lacroix Construction Services Limited, specializing in general construction, industrial maintenance, manpower resources, transportation and lifting, and equipment rental, excavators, bulldozers, dump trucks, lighting systems, and everything for your project. We have affordable prices. Call now, 267-0000 or 431-0012. Lacroix Construction Services Limited, TNT's construction boss.
Where does disease start? It often begins silently. No pain, no symptoms, just inflammation quietly damaging your body. Our choice is food, stress, pollution, all feed inflammation. Chronic inflammation is the root cause of many modern diseases.
You can't go back in time, but you can start addressing inflammation before it becomes disease.
Omega XL is a natural inflammation fighter clinically researched with over 30 fatty acids and no fishy aftertaste. Available Caribbean-wide at pharmacies and health food stores. Call 1-868-225-0410 for more information.
For all top quality and affordable hardware supplies, no one beats Midland Hardware, located number 97 Eastern Main Road, Arouca. Midland stocks the #1 brands in hand tools, garden tools, water tanks, power washers, generators, water pumps, kitchen and bathroom faucets, along with face basins and toilet sets, blocks, lumber, steel, sand, gravel and topsoil. Also check out Midland for steel windows and assorted designs of metal curtain rods. Everything for home and business projects. Payments via links, credit cards, online payments, or cash on delivery. WhatsApp 327-7761 or call 646-2144. Open every day from 8 a.m. From foundation to finish, it's all at Midland.
Is high blood sugar the root cause of diabetes? Most people think high blood sugar is the problem. The truth, it's inflammation. Insulin resistance is the root cause of diabetes. Reducing that inflammation is key. Omega XL is a natural option. Not fish oil, but a patented green-lit muscle extractor with over 30 fatty acids, including EPA and DHA. Clinically studied, backed by over 30 years of research. Stay tuned.
Omega XL. Power your health.
Thank you, Master Control. Thank you indeed. And to everyone locked on, a pleasant Sunday evening to each and everyone. Yes, we are here, The Observer, every Sunday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. here on Garrel, the TV, the channel, and of course, Amplia Flow. When you get us, please share the link. Again, I'm all right. I'm just a little dusty, but I'm okay. Hey, joining us is a man always interesting. Always a pleasure to have him on. He gives us that different perspective and that legal perspective as well. Let me say a pleasant good evening to Kyle Takla Singh, attorney at law. Good evening, sir.
Good evening to you, and good evening to the listeners and viewers.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. You know, you've weighed in on this issue of the recent U.S. airstrikes on vessels operating, near our maritime borders. It has been said to us that these are narco traffickers. These are, according to the U.S. president, these are some of the worst individuals plying their trade and then trying to get their product into the United States and to other parts of the region. And they should not be looked upon as anything else but the worst that society can produce. And many have said this and said that America is playing judge, jury, and executioner. They're bullies. There's no due process. How do we know who these individuals are? But you're taking it from a different angle. And please share with us. Go right ahead.
Well, I think the commentary that I have given is in response to several criticisms in the public that somehow either A, Trinidad or its government, or to express discontent with these actions, or B, that the government should be condemned for offering any type of support to the Americans in their quest to get rid of these cartels. And what is being invoked is that somehow what is happening with the Americans and their strikes is contrary to the rule of law and extrajudicial system and an extrajudicial killing. And my simple point is this. The rule of law depends on clear, cogent, accessible rules that parties must abide by and adhere to. And if they are infringing those things, then there's a court of law. Then there are several tribunals. There's a prosecutor. There are police to enforce these laws, etc. Those things don't apply when it comes to a state's defense of its borders. The U.S. has said very clearly that they have intelligence, that these boats are narco-traffickers, that they are part of the cartels in Venezuela. I forget the name of the cartel now. They are part of the cartel in Venezuela. And also, there is clear evidence that these cartels are linked to terrorist groups and terrorism. And there's well-documented evidence of that. So the United States has decided that they, in defense of their country, are going to take proactive steps to eliminate a national security risk. Now, we here say, or many people say, well, that's lacking due process and that there's no evidence of that. Well, first of all, United States intelligence and military intelligence is probably the best in the world. They have satellites that could see the time on your watch, right? So I don't know exactly where either our commentators or even detractors get off in saying that, they may not have the necessary intelligence. The second thing is it what? That you're asking us to believe that this information is made up so that Donald Trump could spend millions of dollars to bomb fishermen in the sea? I just don't buy the logic. It obviously is that the U.S. have good intel, and it's obvious that they're taking action to defend their state. Now, you may very well say that you think that these types of killings are immoral. You may very well say, well, I think they are unjustified. But you can't invoke the rule of law, and you can't say it's extrajudicial when these are really matters that don't involve the judiciary, certainly not the Trinidad judiciary, or any judiciary, and certainly not rule of law or clear and accessible rules. Now, one may want to point to things like, well, the International Criminal Court. The Americans are not a signatory to the International Criminal Court. They don't belong to it. They've, in fact, withdrawn from it. And therefore, how are you then going to say that they are part of some ICC arrangement and we should bind them by those rules when they haven't accepted those rules? You have to remember that laws must be consensual. You have to have a process. So when we make laws in our parliament, they're made through our representatives in parliament, who we vote for, who participate in that process, that debate, and laws are made in a democratic way. Which laws that you want to bind the Americans to have been made in some democratic way where everybody sat down and debated and agreed to these things?
No,
they have not.
Let me ask you, Mr. Takaksing, this is quite interesting. This sort of brings into play the stand your ground legislation. Is it a matter of waiting for something to happen, just being a sitting duck, making yourself vulnerable? I think the U.S. president is saying, look, listen, I don't have time to wait for you to get your product here, to start distributing it, to start getting it into our cities, into our children, into our communities, and then say, you know what, we could have stopped this, we could have prevented this. Is Kamla Prasad Bissessa supposed to wait to see within every trip how many weapons can land here on this soil, how many weapons can be used in a murder, and then have to deal with the statistics afterwards, after the fact? Are you understanding how I'm piecing this together?
Well, and you're right. Absolutely not. I mean, in this case, it is not Ms. Prasad Bissessa who's even taking the decisions, or probably not even a part of the decision-making process in these strikes. She is simply saying, as far as I have heard, that cartels should be eliminated, and the United States are entitled to do what they have to do to defend their citizens. And guess what? If the cartels are eliminated, it benefits Trinidad and Tobago as well, by whatever means.
And that's my point. Is she then to just sit idly by and not say, well, I'm getting assistance here to deal with something that has been a core problem for quite some time? We don't manufacture guns. Where are these guns coming from?
Well, certainly she is not mandated. She or the government is not mandated to invoke due process and rule of law to try and stop it. Because you can't, and there is no rule of law due process available. So what are we going to do? We're going to have the U.S. military appear in a court and ask them to produce their intelligence so that a jury of their peers can decide whether the intelligence is good or not? That's absolutely ridiculous. That is not how these things work when it comes to these types of international national security issues. They don't. Now, the U.S. has their own internal judicial system. They have a Senate committee, an intelligence committee. They have their processes to determine whether or not strikes were validated. And if they feel bad about it, they could take their president to court, or they could impeach their president in the Senate. There are remedies in America. There's nothing like that has happened or has started to happen. So if you want to look for rule of law and due process, well, America has it. And no such thing has happened in America to prevent these strikes. So why are we in Trinidad to invoke and to say and to criticize these things for breaching a rule of law which just simply does not exist?
Yeah, you're right.
That's the point. And why should we do that when we know that these things are serious problems? And I'm fed up of people invoking every time there's an issue that they don't agree with, and it's really a political issue, or it's really a national security, they throw out rule of law. That tells me you don't really understand what the rule of law means. And it really tells me you don't understand how a judicial system means if you want to say that these are extrajudicial killings. Which judiciary are they going to be heard in? The Trinidad. And then, one of the main things I have is that you're willing to condemn people for taking action to defend their state, when in the very said Venezuela, there's absolutely no judicial system which citizens can go to. It's run by a dictator, and that is how these cartels are thriving. So should we then make a complaint for the Venezuelan government and authorities to interdict their cartels and prosecute them in a fair and transparent manner, to take them off the streets in Venezuela so that it won't affect Trinidad and America? Give me a rest.
Yeah.
Give me a rest.
Yeah, because again, whose law and whose oversight?
Standard.
Yeah.
And at highest, I saw someone comment on something. I said, well, the law is that you could only go to war in defense of your country. Well, one, that's not the law, but two, but that's exactly what America is saying. Their defense. So what are they to do? Wait to be struck? Even basic self-defense law says you don't have to. You could launch a preemptory strike if you feel you're under threat, and that is what the Americans have done. Now, as I said, you may very well say, well, I think it's immoral that people are being killed. Or you may very well say it's unjustified. But what you can't say is that it's breaking some kind of law. That's different. Right?
Yeah, and when you wrote, of course, as well, that we live in an age where warfare is not confined to conflict among nations and established armed forces. It is waged by multinational syndicates of criminality.
Correct, and it's well documented, I believe, by the same international body, the UN, in several reports, that these cartels are, in fact, intertwined with terrorist groups. And the Americans, in their Senate process, or in their Secretary of State process, which is a democratically elected position, meaning that they have been won an election and the Secretary of State has been appointed, has labeled I believe it's the Trent de Agua, as a terrorist group. And when somebody is labeled as a terrorist group and you need to stop terrorism, the Americans are very forthright about stopping that, because they are a whale. They can be attacked from anywhere at any time in the most vicious way. So they will do what they have to do to defend their country. Invoking rule of law and extrajudicial criticisms in Trinidad and Tobago is simply not assisting the process. It's really not.
Yeah, I had two gentlemen who, of course, represent the fisher folk and the fishing industry, and they made it quite clear that fishermen do feel a lot safer now, knowing that they can go out there. Of course, those who go beyond will have their own agenda, and the Prime Minister has made it quite clear: if you get yourself involved in what can be deemed shady activities, you're on your own. And she's right. She's right. But they have made it quite clear that they feel a lot more, they feel safer knowing they can go out there and ply their trade.
The Prime Minister, the government, the National Security Minister, or the Home Affairs Minister, as it is known, have a duty to take reasonable steps to protect their citizens. What the Prime Minister does not have is a duty to babysit you. If you make horrible decisions and you go out of border and you ply that trade which is well known with drug dealers, etc., then you do so at your own risk, right? Then you do so at your own risk. But that is not a reason why the Prime Minister should somehow come out and condemn these things, as the rest of CARICOM seems to be comfortable with doing. Well, that's their own decision. They can do that if they think it's in their national interest. But when it comes to our national interest, if the U.S. policy aligns with the national interest, well, then we're entitled to non-object. We're entitled to support it. And we have our own treaty. You want to talk about international law? We have treaty obligations to assist the Americans. So we could break one treaty to assist another.
And that's the thing. And that's the thing, Mr. Taklak, saying those who know better would have a better understanding of, we do have treaties. Yeah. But for some reason, I don't know if it's a matter of convenience of memory, where you have, for example, the opposition weighing on it, and we have opposition member, a former National Security Minister, Marvin Gonzalez, said that while the exercises, which is with this country and the U.S., form part of a tradition of cooperation between the U.S. and Trinidad and Tobago in law enforcement, they should be considered against the backdrop of military tension in the region. Why? Why should that be an issue? I mean, if we are accustomed being involved and there are treaties that are signed, what's the issue?
Yeah, and then if there are security tensions, then perhaps our soldiers should receive the training and assistance from the Americans. Who do you want them to get it from, the Venezuelans? Doesn't make sense to me. I don't. And as I've said, there's a lot of, what this seems to me is that people are holding on to this issue to just criticize the government. It seems that you want to criticize the government, so you're working backwards. You're going to hold on to this issue to launch an attack against the government, to talk about rule of law and to talk about extrajudicial and talk about this thing is against the law and that we have to do better. That's ridiculous. These are national security issues. What if, and I asked someone this what if we knew the U.S. intelligence told us that the very intelligence that they're using now says that a boat of chemical weapons was on its way to Trinidad and it could potentially be displaced? What would we want? For the Americans to take out that boat in open seas? Or we would want them to alert us, tell us, let the boat dock, let the police intercept them, let's arrest them and take them to court? I know which one I would choose.
The opposition is also saying that they're accusing the government of withholding critical information, which continues to stir panic and unease among the public.
Well, tell them file a freedom of information request if they want the information. There are obviously types of information which are sensitive and subject to national security considerations and subject to international national security considerations. If the U.S., for instance, has shared certain intelligence with the Americans, I don't know, but if the U.S. has shared certain intelligence with our security forces about its plans, etc., but it's confidential, what do you want the Trinidadian, what do you want Mr. Sobers to do? To come to the public in a press conference said, well, this is what we know and this is exactly why we're doing this. That's ridiculous. And I remember every time you asked a national security question in the last 10 years, the first answer out of the former administration's mouths were, these are matters of national security and we have to be concerned about what we say. Obviously, and we're reckless. Right. That every time you ask, I think even when you ask them, oh, why cameras aren't working, right? Oh, these are national security issues and you have to be concerned about what you say and etc. just as a scapegoat. Well, on this occasion, it is not a scapegoat. It is clear and obvious that there are real national security concerns about divulging information which they should respect.
Yeah, it makes you wonder. I mean, you know, one would think that regardless of on what political divide you may be, that you would want what's best in the interest of Trinidad and Tobago and the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And if there's something there that is assisting, making sure that, you know, many of these illegal guns don't end up in the hands of people who will carry out crimes in Trinidad. When you look at the stats now, you can see that the crime rate has dropped. And one must say that, listen, what is taking place out there on the waters may contribute to the fact that we're seeing this decrease as well, along with good policing and what have you. You know,
I think for the last 30 years or so, we have been assuaged with the phrase transnational shipment point. I think from the time a Trinidadian hears national security in Trinidad, they also hear transnational shipment point. And that is because Trinidad, unfortunately, has become a transnational shipment point for narcotics, illegal guns, etc., etc. And those things, we don't bring those things in Trinidad. We don't make them, sorry. They enter here through porous borders. Many of these illicit items enter via some of the very ways they enter the United States, and the Americans are taking action. And no doubt it comes the originators of the cartels, the drug people, and they are being eliminated by the Americans. So and even if we wanted to say, even if you wanted to say as a country that we needed to object to this because it's somehow infringing the rule of law, how on earth do you go about doing that? There is no court that governs these things. Yeah. That is not to say that we should act lawless or that the Americans should act lawless, but it's a different playing field. It's different rules. So stop invoking rule of law principles and extrajudicial and accusing the government of saying that there's no due process. What due process do you want to offer these cartel persons that the Americans have deemed to be terrorists? Yeah. They are dealing with it in their way, and if there are some transgressions, well, the American president will be subject to its own internal judicial and senatorial processes.
And you're right about that. There are methods that one can use. There's a process that they can use in order to get that, you know, done and make it transparent as possible, whether it be impeachment, whatever it may be, whatever Congress wants to step in. Their
processes. You can't ask Pamela Passadis and the government of the United National Congress to somehow take some positive step to come out and invoke the rule of law and extrajudicial. What you want us to do, to send the TTPS to lock up Donald Trump? That makes no sense. So stop invoking that rule of law issues. Stop invoking this extrajudicial phrase to somehow add legitimacy to your obviously weak arguments about this issue. It's a national security issue that is well beyond Trinidad and Tobago, and Trinidad and Tobago will have a role to play by way of our geography. How far we support, etc., is a political decision. So it's not a legal decision, it's a political decision that we will have to deal with.
So true. Yeah. Mr. Takax, I want to thank you so much for taking time out to be with us here this evening. Thank you so much. I mean, giving us that perspective. You know, many people have weighed in on this. Many people are trying to gain some political traction. Some people, of course, are trying their best to poke, holes into it and look for kinks in the armor of the Prime Minister and the admin. But really and truly, I mean, what does it really add up to? I mean, the rule of law that many are talking about, you know, under whose judicial oversight is that going to take place?
Exactly. Yeah. Correct.
Thanks a lot again. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Hey, take a short break, folks. We'll be right back.
Your heart does so much for your body, your life, your loved ones. But modern stress, diet, and lifestyle can tip the balance, especially with every passing day. Heart XL delivers high-potency omega-7 palmitoleic acid from sustainable pollock oil to elevate HDL and support a healthy metabolism.
Inflammation and low HDL put your heart at risk. Heart XL's omega-7 helps reduce C-reactive protein and support healthy HDL, keeping your heart strong.
Heart XL, nourish your heart, sustain your life.
When you say TNT's construction boss, then there's only one company, Lacroix Construction Services Limited, specializing in general construction, industrial maintenance, manpower resources, transportation and lifting, and equipment rental, excavators, bulldozers, dump trucks, lighting systems, and everything for your project. We have affordable prices. Call now 267-0000 or 431-0012. Lacroix Construction Services Limited, TNT's construction boss.
Where does disease start? It often begins silently. No pain, no symptoms, just inflammation quietly damaging your body. Our choices: food, stress, pollution, all feed inflammation. Chronic inflammation is the root cause of many modern diseases.
You can't go back in time, but you can start addressing inflammation before it becomes disease.
Omega XL is a natural inflammation fighter clinically researched with over 30 fatty acids and no fishy aftertaste. Available Caribbean-wide at pharmacies and health food stores. Call 1-868-225-0410 for more information.
For all top quality and affordable hardware supplies, no one beats Midland Hardware, located number 97 Eastern Main Road, Aruca. Midland stocks the #1 brands in hand tools, garden tools, water tanks, power washers, generators, water pumps, kitchen and bathroom faucets, along with face basins and toilet sets, blocks, lumber, steel, sand, gravel and topsoil. Also check out Midland for steel windows and assorted designs of metal curtain rods. Everything for home and business projects. Payments via links, credit cards, online payments, or cash on delivery. WhatsApp 327-7761 or call 646-2144. Open every day from 8 a.m. From foundation to finish, it's all at Midland.
Is high blood sugar the root cause of diabetes? Most people think high blood sugar is the problem. The truth, it's inflammation. Insulin resistance is the root cause of diabetes. Reducing that inflammation is key. Omega XL is a natural option. Not fish oil, but a patented green-lipped muscle extract with over 30 fatty acids, including EPA and DHA. Clinically studied, backed by over 30 years of research. Stay tuned.
Omega XL. Power your health.
Husqvarna, a global leader in outdoor power equipment, known for its high performance, durable and innovative products, tested and proven by generations of professionals. Full after-sales and service support whenever you need it. Contact Provar Distributors Limited, 223-9438 to find a dealer near you.
If you live with diabetes, your pancreas works overtime every single day. Between our rich foods and busy lives, chronic inflammation can sneak in, stressing the pancreas and raising the risk of complications. Over time, inflammation can damage these cells, making blood sugar harder to control.
Protecting your pancreas from inflammation is a smart way to support healthy blood sugar management.
Backed by science, Omega XL is a natural anti-inflammatory with over 30 free fatty acids, proven to help reduce inflammation at its source. Learn more online or ask your local pharmacist.
Oh gosh, this place hot. And the AC in this car not working.
Check Ryan Air. Ryan Air is ranked among the best in TNT for auto air conditioning service. They specialize in repairing and servicing all makes and models of vehicles and heavy equipment. They also stock a wide range of parts. Give them a call at 640-5828 or visit them at number 41 Cane Farm Road, Tacarigua, or email ryanairac@gmail.com. For prompt and efficient service, look no further than Ryan Air.
Thank you, Master Control. And joining us is a man who knows the Observer Man, the Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Sport and Youth Affairs, Senator the Honorable David Nackett. and he's got a lot to discuss. I just want to let you know, folks, we're talking about the David Nackett Academy. Now, here's the important part you need to underline. East-West Corridor Football League. The David Nackett Academy, East-West Corridor Football League. It's big, it's huge, it's stronger than Black Disinfect. This man, and this is something that I gotta say about, Senator Nackett. When you speak about the young people, he always says, let's give them the avenue. Let's find a way for them to capitalize on what's being offered so they can elevate themselves. Pleasant good evening to you, Senator.
Good evening, big brother Mikey.
Yes, indeed.
First of all, thanks for your invitation to be on. Saying hello to your listeners, your viewers, and congratulations on your appointment. Well deserved, much deserved. Blessings and loving yours all the time.
Thank you. Tell us, the David Nackett Academy East-West Corridor Football League. Why the East-West Corridor?
Well, the East-West Corridor is a symbolic representation of Trinidad and Tobago. The East-West Corridor is the spine of Trinidad and Tobago. I mean, it runs, it runs. The East-West Corridor, Northeast, Northwest, and everything. But it's a symbolic representation of the country because it's where I grew up. It's where so many of our players who played for the national team grew up playing on the East-West Corridor. And I wanted that symbolism to remain while we include also in this league South and Central and Tobago. We also have South, Central, and Tobago included in this league. So it is just a symbolic representation of what this league means, where it comes from historically. And that's all it is. But I think, as you have always heard me say, Brother Mikey, once we fix the East-West Corridor, we fix Trinidad and Tobago.
And I agree. And I know coming out of that corridor, that the amount of stories that you get bombarded with, and what I've witnessed myself, young people unable to afford perhaps football boots, single mothers, they don't have time to drop off and pick up, they're trying to make ends meet. And these young people are sometimes just simply neglected. But once the opportunity is there, once there's an avenue, once there's a chance that they feel a sense of belonging and a sense of purpose and being, we all believe that they can make a difference. And what's going to make this league different than the others that have been, have come and gone?
Well, let's be fair to Eddie Hart. Eddie Hart had a league that ran from 1967 and ran for quite a while, for decades. Now, when it started, it really galvanized the East-West Corridor. And we have to give him kudos for that. I don't like to be, even if I don't like the PNM, and as a fact, I hate the PNM, but I will always be fair to the people within the PNM. And we have to give our kudos to Eddie Hart. But that league ran into the ground. They ran that league into the ground. That league was no more. Even before it was officially no more, it was done. So what we are doing is not only coming up with something bigger, more expansive, more explosive, more impactful to the youth of the corridor and the whole of Trinidad and Tobago, where we have expanded it in South, Central, Tobago, everywhere. What we are doing is we've given them more avenues, as you've said, more avenues to explore and reach their potential. What we have coming out of this league, as the patron of this league is the Honorable Prime Minister, because when I pitched this to her, Mickie K, her response was immediate. She was like, go with this. She loved this because it's a grassroots initiative. And we have to have something on a grassroots level for our people. And there's nothing that unifies our people like football, especially the young people. And now we've given them a chance to use this league because we're going to have coaches coming down. And I'll send you something after where you see, where we have a Spanish coach, coaches talking about they're coming to Trinidad and Tobago to look at the players in this league. And we're going to have an all-star team from this league going to Spain to play games in Spain. and have professional clubs watching at them and giving them that opportunity. We're also going to have a United States coaches coming down to watch players and give them the opportunity to perhaps follow an educational pathway in the United States. So we're providing that opportunity for people, for young people on the corridor and all around Trinidad and Tobago that no one has provided before. Because all the TNM did in the last 10 years was put on events. Shamfa would put on an event, Cummins would put on an event for 2 days, and who got the money? The service providers. And I have the receipt, Mickie K. You know me, I don't talk unless I have the receipt. I have the receipt. The service providers got the money. The people who were involved in administration got the money. Right, and Dali Young, I hope you're listening. So I have all the receipts, so I could call people names, Brother Mickie K. But in this league, the Prime Minister stressed that she wanted that money to go to the people involved in their own development. So if you look at the price structure, people say, wow, $120,000 for first prize in a minor league? Unheard of, Mickie K. $75,000 second prize, $50,000 third prize. All-star team paid by the league on a trip to Spain. All of these things are in making sure that the people who are involved in their own development get rewarded, and not the service providers, not the administrators, not the people who do it, who are being paid very modest salaries. It's the people involved in their own development who stand to benefit from this, and that is what their developmental policy should mean.
And I'm glad you said that, because I agree with you. I mean, too many times we hear that the administrative cost basically overshadows the entire event. People just bringing this one on as administrator, and what happens to the athletes? Where do they go? How do they benefit? How do they grow? And you know, I think the time has come for us to stop that. People are bringing their talent, they're bringing their sacrifice, they're bringing their hope that they can go out there and perhaps get a scholarship, a full scholarship, to play on the international circuit and represent this country. But instead we have people who seem to just want to make up their face and go to these events and have a good time. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Exactly. You know, we had born out of the TNM was a serious program events kind of culture, where they put on a 2-day events, caravan events, or some kind of shoppiness. That was not development policy. They were all about eater food for the administrators, for their service providers, and sometimes the administrator or the one who did the program or who initiated the program, when they check the service provider, they own the company. Right, Pastor Cummins? So when I call them people's name, I know I tell you about. I'm waiting for them, Brother Mickie, because it was really a disgusting, reprehensible policy by the PNM to not have anything that benefited the people on the ground. This league will benefit the people on the ground.
And you said recently in an interview with the Secondary School Football League that, you know, there wasn't enough time given for these players to actually try to hone in on their skills and develop.
Yeah, 3 months. 3 months, nowhere in the world would you see a league at that level, basically players from 15 to 19, sometimes 20, playing in a league that was for 3 months, where they'd be cramming games, 2 games into a week and so. So I also had meetings with the SSFL, the president, Mary Gonzalez. He was very, very amenable, because sometimes they find these people in these positions and they don't want to change. They're very comfortable, you know, and I think our Prime Minister has always stressed that we have to start to do things differently than what has happened before. Because you see where we've reached. We've reached basically a wall in so many things. And we have to change that culture. So that league, that 3 months, must be 6 months. It must be at least 6 months that people can take care of they can take care of their craft. They can hone their craft. They can take care of how they think about the game. You give coaches time to mentor coach players, to take care of their injuries, to take care of their strategic and tactical ability. It gives you more time, and that's what development policy has to do with. Time, process. I saw the president recently at the game. He told me that he's very interested in having the talks because we have to talk with the different stakeholders and get them to buy in as well. You have to change the culture of how we think. Trinidad, the first thing they'll tell you, but we produce so many players from that league. Yeah, but that was before. We're not producing the same players now. It's a big difference. So we're looking forward to having those discussions as we go along, Brother Mikey, and look forward to progressing our development in Trinidad and Tobago on all levels.
Now, when you talk about something different and, changing the game up a bit, you have athletes who would need a lot of polishing. And when I say that, they may have the skills on field, they may have all that it takes on field, but as far as having the right attitude, understanding the importance of having a good attitude, discipline. I mean, these are words sometimes that are just bandied about. But when you look at it, many of that seems to be missing, and young athletes just disappear with so much talent because they weren't groomed. They didn't go through the process. Is it going to be different with the David Nackett Academy East-West Corridor Football League?
It is, because in those leagues previously, we didn't have proper monitoring, evaluation, assessment of players. And that's what we need. We need the communities to come out. We need these players placed under pressure by their communities to perform, and then we can assess them. We can assess them physically, technically, even mentally, as something that has been neglected in Trinidad. We need to see these players under pressure and from all sides. We have to get away from what we've fallen into, which is a player has 1 or 2 games in colleges league, and then we tout them as the next best thing. No, it has to be a process, and we have to see them constantly playing, Brother Mikey, against higher level opposition. We have to see them. So this All-Star team, we intend to take them to Spain. We also intend to take them regionally. Do you know, Brother Mikey, we've had interest from teams in other Caribbean islands about this league, about coming to play in this league. That's to tell you the kind of impact people realize this is what is needed, not only in Trinidad and Tobago, but throughout the Caribbean. Proper development can only happen within a framework where there's always competition, where there's always a higher level that you're aspiring to. That's where you get development in sport.
Yeah, and one of the things that you touched on, and I'm sure many people would agree, is that there always seems to be this wide gap between when we had it, when we showcased it, when we had that sense of pride, and compared to from that time to now, you still hear the old names. Whatever happened to such guys like this and guys like that? Why? Why such a wide gap? Why does it take so long for us to reconnect and understand that this needs to be made a priority?
Well, I asked myself the same question. I'm at the stadium, and you have people maybe 20, 30, 25 years on since I last played, since Latapleed last played, since York last played, and you still hear them, boy, Nackett and Latapleed could still play for this team, York could still play for this team, Gerald Nixon could still play for this team, Angus Eve. That tells you that the public, they are very much aware that we are lacking the talent that we used to have across the board. We are lacking that. And I think what we need to do is have leagues like this, a league like mine, that will bridge that gap, that will close that gap that we used to have by exposing our young people to a higher level of competition at an earlier age so that they know exactly what they come up against. I don't know, Brother Mikey, if you saw that video that has gone viral of a young player called Adrian Welch.
Yeah.
Talking about his experience in Belgium. Did you see that video?
Yeah, I did. And
I'll give the young man credit for one thing at least. It has been the most brutally honest interview or soliloquy or explanation of what took place, of his experience. He was brutally honest. But what a lot of people wouldn't realize what he's talking about is rhythmic adaptation. He's basically saying that he couldn't get accustomed to the rhythm of the training in Belgium. And I can attest to that personally. When I the world, Brother Mikey. Now, he has gone, I would assume within the last decade, Belgium is no more in the top 3 leagues in the world by any stretch, and he still found that he could not adapt to the rhythm. It's called the tempo of the game there. He could not adapt. And this is how I love this honesty, because, you know, you have all these people going and not making, and they will give you all kind of excuses. They come back, the coach, they like them, they can speak the language, blah, 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 the players, they pass them. No, he was brutally honest. From the first training, he said on the first training, he realized he was like, what do you call it? Foul and cockroach business.
Yeah, he had no place being there, yeah.
And let me tell you something. I heard this before from a player who was voted when I was playing in college in America, a guy called Tommy Kane. I never got it. He wrote a book. He said he went to Germany. He was voted. He got a Hermann Trophy, which is the best player in America in soccer, in football. And he went with that award, and he went to Germany to try out with Hamburg, I think it was. And he said they were laughing at him in his first training, and he came back home to America crying because he realized he had no business being there. So people don't know what he has to go through. So I like the honesty of this guy, Adrian Wells. I love his honesty. And people don't know what he's talking about is the rhythmic adaptation. And that doesn't come easily, Brother Mikey. That comes with playing at a higher level, with a higher level players. You're exposed to that kind of rhythm, the pace of the game. And I would dare say that even though when we look at sometimes our national teams also, that's what is missing. And that only comes when you expose them to leagues like what I'm implementing. When you expose them to a higher level, you take them to Spain, you take them to regional tournaments. And that's what we intend to do. That is what you call true development. Not a 2-day, 3-day event, a 2-month league here, a 1-month league here. And I mean, you're just wasting taxpayers' money there. You're wasting people's time. They come out, and then at the end of it, they give them a trophy and some money and tell them go home. They come out with nothing or no objectives attained, nothing measurable. I think the people of Trinidad and Tobago deserve more. I think Kamala Prasad Bisasar said, we will give them more. She has become the patron of this league, and everyone is looking forward to this being a true symbol of development.
And when is the official launch?
Well, the official launch is by you, Brother Mikey. On Wednesday, please God. Wednesday the 19th, 8 starting from 8 o'clock, 8 a.m. at TTT.
That's right. 8 a.m. Wednesday 19th at TTT. People are looking forward to it already. I got several calls. People really and truly gravitating to this. I want to say hats off to you and your entire support staff and everyone who has a role to play in making this happen. Final question I want to ask you, when it's all said and done, when you're at that age where you with your great grand and you're sitting there, what would you want most of all to say that was accomplished from the David Nackett Academy East-West Corridor Football League?
First of all, as we see actual deliverables come out of this league, meaning that some of the young players that participate in this league, they go on to represent the country. That's one. Two, a more civic engagement between the communities. This is what will bring the communities together in a more meaningful and a more beneficial manner up and down the East-West Corridor, South, Central, and Tobago. We're going to have that, bring back that competition between Flair and St. Joseph, between St. Joseph and St. Augustine, between Guston and Puna, between Puna and Gandhi. We want to see that between Central, between Cuba and Chaguanas. We want to see that between South. We already have teams oversubscribed in South as well. We have teams in Tobago. We want to bring back the communities, and football is a unifying factor. We've seen that before, and we're going to use not only football, but as we expand on it in years to come, we're going to expand on it in other sports. But we start with that major sport in our country, football.
All right. Thank you so much. Keep up the good work. Wednesday, 19th at TTT, 8 a.m. the launch of the DNA Football League, the David Nackett Academy East-West Corridor Football League. Very important, East-West Corridor. Thank you so much, Senator. Keep up the good work, and I'll be seeing you.
Thank you, brother Mikey. Take care.
Have a good one. Thanks. Well, folks, we're going to take some calls in a few minutes, just before we wrap up things here. Very interesting, and it's very good that, you know, when you hear about these leagues, and he's right, too many times there have been events where they hand you a dust gatherer. Well, that's what I call it. People say trophies. A dust gatherer. You take it home and it just simply gathers dust. You get a few dollars, and then you know, 2 or 3 years later, you scratch your head and you say, but listen, I went to an event. There was a young man there, outstanding. There was a young lady, she was, she was good. And then you say, but I wonder where they're at. What are they doing? What league are they a part of? You know, you want to inquire because, you know, you were impressed. You're hoping that they're somewhere in one of the universities in North America, or maybe in Europe, or they're playing in some league and they're getting ready to represent the country, but you don't hear that. All you know that there was something, there was an administrative cost, the caterer got paid, who bought the plants, who set up the stage, who get the trophies, you know, and nothing comes out of it whatsoever. So listen, don't forget, all community-based teams and clubs, call today and sign up for the David Nackett Academy East-West Corridor Football League. You can call 790-1033, 790-1033. You can call 472-2600, 472-2600. You can call 735-0713, 735-0713. You can call 796-0177, 796-0177, or 461-1214, 461-1214. It's the next level of minor league and grassroots football. That's right. So you don't want to miss it. Hey, when we come back, we'll take your calls, 225-9790, 225-9790. Please set that up for me, Master Control. Or you can hit me up via the WhatsApp. Call 494-0938, 494-0938. Squeeze in some calls before we make our way out. We'll be right back. Short break.
Husqvarna, a global leader in outdoor power equipment, known for its high performance, durable and innovative products, tested and proven by generations of professionals. Full after sales and service support whenever you need it. Contact Provar Distributors Limited, 223-9438 to find a dealer near you.
If you live with diabetes, your pancreas works overtime every single day. Between our rich foods and busy lives, chronic inflammation can sneak in, stressing the pancreas and raising the risk of complications. Over time, inflammation can damage these cells, making blood sugar harder to control.
Protecting your pancreas from inflammation is a smart way to support healthy blood sugar management.
Backed by science, Omega XL is a natural anti-inflammatory with over 30 free fatty acids, proven to help reduce inflammation at its source. Learn more online or ask your local pharmacist.
Oh gosh, this place hot and the AC in this car not working.
Check Ryan Air. Ryan Air is ranked among the best in TNT for auto air conditioning service. They specialize in repairing and servicing all makes and models of vehicles and heavy equipment. They also stock a wide range of parts. Give them a call at 640-5828 or visit them at number 41 King Farm Road, Tacarigua, or email ryanairac@gmail.com. For prompt and efficient service, look no further than Ryan Air.
And we're back, and before we close things off, again, you can call 225-9790, or you can send a WhatsApp. You get your call. You can call me 494-0938. Pleasant good evening to you, Charmaine. Thank you so much. We will use that and hope to see you at the David Nackett Academy East-West Corridor Football League, folks. I just love the fact that he put that East-West Corridor in there. That really, really and truly means a lot. So it's the next level of minor league and grassroots football. So all communities, businesses and organizations, need to support this footballing initiative under the distinguished patronage of the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Kamala Persad-Bissessor. Very, very good indeed. Let me see where you take this one here. Boy, here we go. Yes, yes, indeed. Good evening.
Hi, good evening, Mikey.
Good evening.
And to everybody on the chat, everybody out there. First to begin, I was listening to hear if you would have asked Santa Claus saying about Amory Brown's stupid statement about Mrs. Persad-Bissessor should be appearing before the International Criminal Court. For what? I would have loved to hear from a lawyer's point of view what it is she should be appearing before the court for. You see, Mikey, they are so still toting at a banker for after the 28th of April.
You're
that
right.
They try any kind of thing.
You're right. You're right.
Hello?
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because but he did say. Yeah, but he did say, what court can you put anybody in front of? You know, really and truly. And the thing about it. Yeah, and to talk about the fact that there's a hidden agenda. What hidden agenda? I mean, we are accustomed having these joint exercises with the U.S. So you know, but you're right. They told it.
And this next dipstick from Venezuela coming to tell Mrs. Persad-Bissessor, don't let the U.S. come to train anybody here. This is not Trinidad and Tobago and Venezuela, you know. I wonder if anybody reminded him about that. But you see, he got so much of spokes from the previous prime ministers and them that he feel he could come and dictate to this one. But Mikey, what I love that you interviewed Arnold here tonight, right? Because now Penny want to take up to the Integrity Commission. The same Integrity Commission that Sekith Rowley lied about Ina's Gate, right? But they couldn't do anything to him. She wanted to take Arnold here. But what they should realize, that Arnold wouldn't come just so and talk about something if he didn't get proper legal advice, right? But what is hurting them is that all their business is now on the pavement. And Mikey, before I leave, I still want to ask a question. How can Soleil, how can she pay $2,750 a month, pay off that 1.3 million in 10 years? I PNM maths not mathsing. I wish somebody would work that out for me. Thanks a lot and have a good evening.
Appreciate
Thank you.
that. Yeah. It's not adding up at all. You're right. You're right. It's just not adding up. And this is what we're seeing, folks. Everyone is squeezed in. There's a 4940938, or you can call 2259790. And again, and you're so correct, Ms. Santa Cruz, about that whole issue. You know, how it is that, but as far as with the Integrity Commission, it doesn't even seem as though it's much coming out of the PNM about that option, but it's really mainstream media is asking whether or not it's going to happen. So they seem to have an interest in this as well, and I think that's what Senator Arnold was talking to us about. You know, you need to go where you can get the truth, where you can get the real stories, not the fact that people that always seem to be downgrading. And even when Senator Naked spoke about this league, some of the most nastiest, racist underlying statements were made by people who should know better. Why is it that there's always an issue when something is presented to actually help people, and not just help them for today, but to help them through a process where they can actually get to a point where they can get on the world stage, they can get their family, they can migrate, they can come back with their skills, and of course help build Trinidad and Tobago. They have no problem when these one-day events take place. Oh, it's a big thing. They get some singer, they get somebody to come in, and they have a wonderful time, and it's a big bill at the cost of taxpayers. But think about the pride that we as taxpayers would have, knowing that we supported something where a young man, a young woman from this country go out there and make us proud. I mean, that's money well spent. And I don't have a problem with spending that at all when it comes to making sure that the future is bright for this country. Not just these one-day events. You know? We take this last one before we wrap up. time. Yes, good evening, sir. Good evening.
Yes, I must say good evening to you, Mickie, and I must to the observer viewers on Dial, on Real Media TV, and all other work is link up to. So I must say good night and a pleasant good night, the international listeners, most of all, to our goodly family from Americans. Many of them now tune on to Trinidad. They are watching Trinidad, are watching everything, are watching all the media posts from America. So we are on the market, we are on the road for victory. We are on the road and making Trinidad more healthy again, more better again, and more wealthy and more safe again for the population of Trinidad and Tobago. You know, Mickie, why is the PNM was cussing? The PNM support was cussing because it was cussing. And today the roof leaking. They don't have anything to fix the house and fix the place. In knowing the friend who's a multi-millionaire from St. Vincent. And Mickie, you know today there's a long line from St. Vincent. The people want to come here to see if they get houses now. Everybody from St. Vincent want to rush. They say, but wait now. Oh, Gonzalo, go over there and get it so easy. And get it so easy. All red tape was moved. Wasn't no black hole. Wasn't come back tomorrow. Wasn't waiting outside there out of here just now. And you waited for 4 hours. You know what I mean? It wasn't about that. It wasn't about that. It was my friend. My friend is my enemy. You know what I mean? It was the enemy of my enemy is my friend. It wasn't no long line business. And why did the PNM people was suffering on that 9 years in silent? Why did the PNM people couldn't get house? Why did the PNM people today?
Yeah, and Kingsley, you would have known people that will tell you they've been waiting 23 years, 18 years.
Of course. I'm telling you, PNM, because I live in a PNM community. That diamond body around my PNM. And when you hear the whole money, I give you one. At time when I was PNM, and Mickie, we was campaigning. I was walking around in that area. And the woman run outside. So she and Josie. He said, oh God, that's all I want. A PNM jersey. So I want you so. But she said, I old lady, I want you so. I was like, oh my God. And she, I have all the jerseys. Mickie, that woman tried to imitate a government job. You might tell you, Mickie, that woman living in a wood house today, she live, then I'm going to chance to live in the wood house. You think I come in this world and I build a concrete house. You know what I mean? A big concrete house, I build it. You understand? I did pay rent. Many of them, I come here and meet them, PNM, Mickie. You know they still pay rent? Yeah. I need the PNM because I will be still paying rent too. I need the PNM and building my house. You know what I mean? If I only have PNM still, I'll be still paying rent, Mickie. I'll be still living like 1962. I don't mind living in a board house once PNM in power. That is foolish to say. So as I close my gig, I want to say to the Caribbean, I want to thank you for looking up. Look up to our Prime Minister and saying that our Prime Minister now come the Queen of the Caribbean. Because there was an old saying that Mudley was the mother of the Caribbean. The crown, put the crown on our Prime Minister of Tobago, calling her the Queen, calling her the muscles of the Caribbean, making sure that the Caribbean people feel safe, most of all, making sure that they feel safe, most of all, standing against criminals and drugs, every 2 weeks, we used to go on social media and see these people coming from Venezuela. On top the 500 of them, 300 of them, they're coming on the shores.
Yeah.
They're coming in boat. They don't care if they sink. They ain't coming out. They ain't coming out. They ain't coming out. They ain't coming out. So we stand firm on the policy that what America is doing to clean up the criminals on the sea and on the land. We stand firm behind that. And make it clear that if the Caribbean leaders try to victimize Trinidad and Tobago, the lower man in Grenada, the lower man in St. Vincent, the lower man in Barbados, who buying our stuffs, who buying our soft drink, our snacks, and our semen and these kind of things, these are the people who will feel it. Not the big boys of them in St. Vincent, not the big boys of them in Grenada, but the lower man in St. Vincent will feel it if they can, because you hear the Antigua Prime Minister say, we is the supermarket. Because Trinidad and Tobago could stand on their own. We do not need the Caribbean. We do not need nothing from the Caribbean. We could stand. He said the Antigua, the Prime Minister of Antigua, because when the rum raised, our punching and thing raised, the rum raised, he said, oh God, it's high. It's high, the price. And he said, we in the supermarket. And if we contest on that, but the word I get from him, the word I take, because I will be saying, and then Trinidad and Tobago, we is the lifeline of the Caribbean. They need us, but means saying the Caribbean. But to buy us, means saying the Caribbean sanction. And Prime Ministers who should do whatever they do in country.
Yeah.
We is the small America. So Mickie, so much to say, I hear speak a lot, I say, that's...
Thanks a lot, man.
Alright, so I just say,
and don't forget the David Nackett Football League.
Yeah, that's a big lead. But I want to say publicly, I want to thank on this program here, I want to thank the Prime Minister for having confidence in a loyalty soldier, a foot soldier who come from the trenches, come from the and understand that, hey, this young fella, this gentleman, he have ambition and give you a chairman of a board. So I want to thank the government and the Prime Minister for recognizing their work.
Thank you.
For all these years to stand side by side with the UNC and with this country. Side by side with the UNC and this country. And she recognized that you put country first, like the UNC, and she give you
Thank you so much, Kingsley. Appreciate that. Appreciate that, brother. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dee. Well, folks, that brings us to the end of our program. Remember, we are observing, but we're in the middle of the action. We're in the middle of the action. Until next week, Sunday, be safe. Have a good one.
Observe.